So quickly, let's review what the Holocaust was. The Holocaust is a disaster that, bottom line, it wipes out life. This was not a dispute over land. This was not a dispute over power. This was an attempt to exterminate Jews, to exterminate Gypsies, to exterminate the Polish, the Slavic people, the physically or mentally disabled, or homosexuals, Catholics, or anyone who was different or who opposed Hitler. Bottom line, that's what the Holocaust was. Read that again, because that's what was happening. When people sit there and tell you that this was over land or power, it's a lie. It was about people that were different. It was about people that they blamed. It was about a scapegoat because they needed someone to blame. And these were the people that they were blaming. Germany was weak after World War I. We all know that. The treaty crippled them. And again, they needed someone to blame. And who came to power to force that blame on people? It was Hitler and his Nazi party. They took over. They created this propaganda. They created the scapegoats. They made the German people believe it. And that's why things happened the way that they did. Hitler's plan was really two phases. He wanted to get more land to expand Germany. He wanted to have Aryan supremacy. These were white, all Jew, non-Jew, I'm sorry. Say all Jew, that's kind of scary after everything I just said. He wanted white people who were non-Jewish and blonde and blue-eyed. I mean, that was the perfected thing, but it was not required. Ultimately, it came down to German blood. Phase 2, get rid of the Jews and all undesirables. And undesirables could have been anything that didn't fit into his perfect image of what the Aryan race would look like. That was Hitler's plan. Now, coming up, we're going to be learning more about the concentration camps, but a lot of people assume that there was only one type of camp, and that's not true. We had work camps, and these work camps made supplies for the German army. Basically, it was like free labor. Imagine what that did for the German economy. They needed things for the German war effort. They had free labor, so they were just pumping out materials at a very low cost, which meant they can produce a whole lot more at a lot cheaper. But then we also had death factories. And these were basically camps that had gas chambers, and they burned bodies in these huge furnaces after they were killed. Many of these people were worked to death in these factories, and many died of disease, starvation, and even torture because they were undesirable. So when you're undesired, you're not going to do things for them. The sad thing is that doctors performed many cruel medical and psychological experiments. There are stories out there that you're going to be hearing of these doctors injecting kids with disease, and they would try to find a cure. And if they didn't find a cure, they didn't really care. They were more interested in the reaction that these kids were getting. It's just unbelievable to me that they could even do something like that. Anyone too sick or too old, they were just simply gassed. If you were worthless to them, they just eliminated you. But here's the thing that amazes me. And these are estimated numbers, you guys. We still to this day do not know how many were truly killed. We can only estimate based on the information that we have. Over 6 million Jews were killed. That's over 40% of the world's Jewish population. Think of that. 40% of the world's Jewish population was killed. Imagine if in our world 40% of the world's Mexicans were killed. It's a huge number. And it's an unbelievable number that this went on so long and that people did not speak up. But on top of that, over 7 million others were killed from the other groups, from these other people who were either protesting against him or who were different in some way. Think of that number. Over 13 million people were killed under Adolf Hitler because of his idea of a perfect race. Now, I know I kind of went on a rant And I get emotional when it comes to this because I just find it so hard to believe that people can actually do this to each other. But what I've come to realize over the years of my life, studying this, seeing things happen in the news, is that the sad thing is that humans and people can do horrible things to each other. But with all that aside, the human spirit is one of the most amazing things in this world because even out of tragedies like something like this comes great forgiveness. And I think that shows the will of people and the true good of all people, that people can forgive after something like this. Keep that in mind the next time someone does you wrong.